The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Money in comics. I talked about it a bunch of times. I did a more recent video. What's weird is people just do not want to go there. And so I'm going to say it. There's a mail coming here. I'm going to read somebody's mail. But I'll lead with this. And I don't think this is that hard, but people forget it. So I'm going to try and put it right in the front of the video. There's a premise in capitalist countries and capitalist society that basically, if you offer more money for a job, you get higher quality candidates. And the idea is that you price out other fields. So the concept is like, hey, you want somebody really good in your company, you offer more money, and that gives you a bunch of candidates that come in for the role, people who are trying to go for that higher salary. And then you basically pick, you get a better selection. And so the part that if you're a socialist or if you're a communist, you don't like this approach, because basically it says, if I offer more money, it means I get 50 candidates. And then I pick one candidate that is the best candidate, and 49 candidates lose. So you get somebody really good. And that's the premise of why you have this kind of capitalist economy and everything else. That's kind of one of the core principles of it. And when I talk about this in terms of comics, and I'm like, we need to put more money into comics, people are like, oh my God, so you're going to pay Vita more money? First of all, Vita's making zero money in comics right now because nobody's employing her for shit. But pick pick Dan Slott, pick whatever writer you hate. And if suddenly you created a contest or a race over who could get the most money, then one of two outcomes is going to occur. Either you're going to get a better quality writer because now you have just more, options to pick from and you can pick the best, or the people who are making that hiring decision are such dumbasses are going to give a lot of money to a buddy of theirs, and then the product isn't going to sell and it's going to look worse because instead of losing, say, 10% on your investment, you're going to lose 50% on your investment, and it accelerates either bankruptcy or a change of course. People have written this in saying, oh yeah, but Disney is willing to lose money. I mean, maybe that's not my experience when I worked at Disney. It turned out, when I worked at Disney liked money just fine, but could be. I don't know. I'm not going to go into hypotheticals if somebody who is completely corrupt at their job hires cronies and the company is willing to just take a loss. I mean, all right. But the general premise of pay more money, get better results is a pretty tried and true capitalist principle. I did another video where I ranted about this a little bit. I think I dropped a bunch of obscenities and people are like, man, you curse a lot. Sure. But let me read this mail to you, which is around page rates. So here is the mail. It says, hey, Perch, someone shared a post from Mike Manley on the Cartoonist Kayfabe Facebook group discussing current page and cover rates for artists at Marvel and DC. And here is a quote. As mentioned before, I got some rate info from an artist who asked to remain anonymous. They said the current Marvel rates are $250 per page, pencils and inks. That's $160 for pencils, $90 for inks. At their basic rate, from which they dropped the rates about 10 years ago, it used to be $300. It used to be $325, actually. It's not negotiable, according to them. I mean, whenever somebody says it's non-negotiable, it absolutely is negotiable, but you have to have some game in order to get to negotiate. If you have no leverage to negotiate, it's non-negotiable, for sure. DC is $10 more, also not negotiable. They tried. Take this as one artist's knowledge or experience. There, of course, are always exceptions, but these seem legit numbers, in fact, higher than some I've seen or I've heard recently. Cover rates are between $400 to $600, Marvel to DC, to over $1,000 for some independent publishers or crowdfunders for the top tier artists. There are always exceptions, even when they say there are not. Well, of course. Name your top 5 artists doing covers, and you know they're not getting $400. Alex Ross is getting more, and deservedly so. Alex Ross is getting over $1,000 a cover, generally closer to 2. That's my comment, not the Facebook post. That is not a guess. I would prefer, so back to the mail. I would assume that you have a labor-intensive style. You would prefer to do covers than interior pages because you would make more money. Knowledge is power. Okay, keeping going with the mail. My takeaway was we could take this as bad news that a multi-billion-dollar company is paying poverty wages for crucial work for their business, effectively turning away talented people because they couldn't partially survive on the rates they would earn. Or we could look at this as good news that we could feasibly hire a professional artist to draw a fanfic comic for way cheaper than you would otherwise assume. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, so from what I have heard from some people who have pitched Marvel lately, is that the number was $225 pencils and inks per page as base non-negotiable rate. This is if you are a smaller name, that's what you're going to get. If you are Olivia Cafiel, you will get higher than that. What I have heard is that DC tries to keep their rates at the same or slightly above, and the slightly above is anywhere from, I've heard, $10 to $25 more per page. And that seems to be more just we'd like to pay more than Marvel because that's, for whatever reason, a bargaining standpoint for us. But who knows? I have heard that your base non-negotiable rate for writing is $65 per page, roughly for Marvel, and $75 per page for DC. These are. I've heard from multiple people this is the case. Again, there are exceptions to everything, and there you go. So that's what I've heard. In terms of you could look at this good news, bad news. I think the same. The bad news is this is absurd. And as much as people say, like, look, they're putting out shit work, so we couldn't pay more. As nice as humanly possible, you're talking like a fucking idiot. Like if you have think of it this way: if you have a restaurant and you are willing to pay $10 an hour for your head chef, and your head chef cooks like shit ass food, you can say, well, fuck this, I'm going to pay $8 an hour because you pay shitty, and you can continue to serve shitty food. Or you can pay $50 an hour and get a quality chef. You probably wouldn't need to pay more than that, but anyway, that's your choice. If you say I won't pay $50 an hour because I'm not going to pay a shitty chef $50, what you're admitting is that you suck at hiring, and you have no ability to ascertain talent, and maybe you should just fucking die or stop running a restaurant. That's where you're at. So, when I see things like this, I look at it as the big two are paying too little. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're paying too little. I had this conversation with someone recently around Tom King's Wonder Woman. And Tom King is writing Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman, for a while now, the Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad years were selling low 40,000 copies a month. Now, Tom King, because of his name and the marketing boost, is going to sell, 50,000. Not for issue number one. Issue number one will say, this is the bullshit they always do in comics. Like, well, issue one sold 100,000 copies. It's like, that's cool. You had 12 variant covers and a big marketing push for a number one issue. Call me again when you get to issue 4. The Tom King run is going to sell higher than the Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad run, mostly because Becky and Michael sucked at writing, and that run was awful. Tom King is, at the very least, injecting a bunch of controversial bullshit that some people will buy it just because they enjoy that. So you're talking about going from 40,000 copies to, say, 50,000 copies a month. So, but now if you start doing the math and you're like, okay, this comic is $3.99 a month, say $4 a month, and DC's cut of that is, whatever, $1.20, And if you sell like an extra 10,000 copies, then you're making, if you just do the math, about $12,000 more by having Tom King on it. Then you have to ask yourself, like, were you paying Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad $12,000 less than Tom King? And the answer is, you're paying Tom King a lot more. So therefore, are you making money? And the answer is no, you're not. You've just kind of, if you work at a corporation, you may have heard the expression, just taking money from one pocket, moving to another. And what they mean by that is, let's say you're in a bigger company and you've got lots of divisions. Let's say you have a marketing division and a technology division. And the technology division goes, I'm not going to pay for this. The marketing department should pay for this. They have a big fight over it. Eventually somebody wins. And let's say the marketing division pays for it. And the IT division's like, God damn, we won. Well, I mean, maybe you won from a budget perspective, but, dumbass, the company is still paying the same amount of money. You just moved it from one pocket to another. When you talk about hiring a creator who's going to increase sales, but you're paying that creative more, then you're kind of just moving money from one pocket to another. That's all you're doing. So when you look at sales and you look at page rate, I come back to, God damn it, that's too little money. Now, I think you need to increase the rates that you're paying people, but it's not, you don't just increase the rates, you also increase the standards. You have to increase both. And I'm going to say it this way, and I know I'm going to offend a couple of you, but hopefully not many. If you're offended by this, you need to ask yourself why. Because either I'm not talking about you and you're getting offended for no good reason, or you're an idiot and you need to be offended because you're fucking stupid. But if you offer more money for a job and you keep hiring the same kind of mouth-breathing fucking morons to do that job, who's the idiot? It's you paying the money. You're the idiot. It's not the mouth-breathing, dumb shit who you hired. That person is just lucky. I mean, shit, good for them. They're getting more money for no good reason because you're too stupid to, hold up to standards. Comics needs standards. If it has standards, it will attract higher quality people. This is not that tough, guys. But I get these, and Jesus Christ, I mean, every time I do this topic, some moron does a video and a live stream or something where they're doing a reaction, and they're like, you sound like an idiot. And what bothers me is not the person who's doing the live stream reaction, because they're just trying to gouge money off of you dumbasses. It's the people who are like, yeah, here's $20 super chat. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, were you dropped on your head as a child? Was your dad, also your cousin? Like, what happened in your life how in the world are you this dumb? Pay more money, ask for more for what you pay for. This is the easiest thing in the world. I mean, look, you could eat at Arby's and pay 99 cents for a burger, or you could go to a restaurant and pay $30 for a steak. If you pay $30 for a steak and the steak sucks, then never go to that restaurant again. Starve it and make it go out of business. A $30 steak, or, actually, I'm sounding kind of cheap here. I went to Del Frisco's the other day, and they're like, it's a tomahawk wagyu, and it was $95. And if you go to Japan, I mean, they'll charge you like $80 per square inch of steak. And it's the best steak you've ever eaten in your life, but fuck, it's a lot of money. But regardless, if you're paying that amount of money and it tastes like Arby's, then, bad on the restaurant, but also at some point, bad on you. You should know better. Don't pay for that. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't pay for that. That's how this works. And the faster people get that through your head, the better. Again, I go to, I was like, Perch is advocating for communism. I don't know why this bothers me so much. It bothers me because it's so stupid. And I just hate to see stupid ass people. And if you want to, you want to get to the brutal, honest truth, you know why some of these creators who, I swear to God, they've got to have some kind of mental disability. Some of these creators who post the dumbest ass shit on social media, they're not the stupidest person. The stupidest person is you if you're buying this shit. You're the stupidest person. And if you're there going, well, there's nothing we can do, we gotta, God damn it. You have no sense of anything. Anyway, sorry for the rant. Thank you very much for the mail. Those page rates are absurd. And it's why it's like, why are we getting the quality we get? Because you're paying $225 a page. That's why. That's not enough money. Okay, we'll end this on a happy note. If you're trying to produce your own comic, good news. You can afford Pepe Larraz. I mean, I don't know if you can or not, but, there's a chance you can. All right, let me do the math for you. Okay, $1,000 a page. If you went out right now, by the way, and asked a bunch of artists, I will pay you $1,000 a page to draw whatever fanfic you've got. Okay? 22-page comic. Let's do the math. $22,000. That's a lot of money. But, if you're a big comic guy, you do a crowdfunder, you could come up with that. You could. $22,000 can get you a comic drawn by Pepe Larraz. So, I don't know. Get good at marketing. Do a good crowdfunding campaign. You can afford that. It's the math. Thanks for listening.